Today's news breaking! Minzy confirms she will be leaving 21 permanently!
If you're a big fan of K-pop, then I think this is pretty difficult news to understand why something like this can happen.
It's just hard to deal with.
So understanding why it happens is a lot less difficult than just the result. The fact that she's not going to be in the group with 21 anymore, Minzy that is, makes the situation more difficult than why does this happen and why this could happen in the future again and again and again with K-pop.
People are just so biased and they're like, oh my gosh, my group is breaking up. I am dead. What do I do?
For me personally, as a music fan, I feel like understanding why something like this could happen does help you either recover faster when it does happen or at least understand what makes K-pop in the first place. Because it really is comprised of quite different components than pretty much any other genre of music in the world. If you think about most music groups that have ever made any sort of big splash on the stage worldwide, from the US, from Europe, even from Korea, indie groups from Korea or Japan, usually groups form because of two or more members already knowing each other before they make any big impact. Okay? That is not how K-pop groups are comprised. K-pop groups are comprised from entertainment companies having tryouts and picking people according to various important factors like how well they sing and how well they dance and how well they can look and if they're pretty and etc. and these sorts of things that don't make most groups come together. So therefore, it's a volatile situation in some regards because they're on contract. Musical groups don't necessarily form because of contract, they form because of friendship bonds and a mutual love for the same exact thing, and then therefore they write music and they get better and better and they start having local shows. It's a very typical situation for most groups except for K-pop, but I don't think the average K-pop fan sees it that way. And they may understand that that's what it is, but they still don't care.
Even those groups, though, that form like that, a lot of them break apart over time.
Sure.
It's natural for people to come and go and follow their hearts and their own pursuits and their own passions in their own life and make their own choices.
But the difference is those groups can make decisions on their own to stay together or break apart, whereas this Minzy situation seems to be Minzy wants to leave and the others, maybe they wanted to stay together, maybe they don't, but they don't really have a say in what Minzy wants because the four of them are under contract by YG, and YG in the article said that they met with each of them separately, individually, in order to try and make the group stay together, which doesn't sound like anything what we're used to generally when it comes to music groups, because it isn't the group that's in charge of itself, it's an entertainment company that's in charge of the group. That's the big different dynamic.
That is a very different dynamic. I'm honestly not surprised that this is happening because their contract was coming up in May and they were going to have to make the decision. And there has been speculation that Minzy has actually been going to leave, or that 21 was breaking apart since 2014.
Okay.
When Minzy took 21 off of all of her social media and then put it back up because there was such chaos and people were pointing it out and being like, oh my gosh, is 21 breaking up? And YG was like, no, 21's not breaking up. And she put it back on her social media. I'm also not surprised because girl is 22 years old and she's been working with YG for 11 years and she has done no solo activities.
She's been with them since she was 11?
She's only been in 21 since 2009, but she's been under contract with YG for 11 years.
She's only 22 years old?
Yep, she's the youngest in the group. And all the other members of 21 have done their own solo activities. Bohm has done her own voice solo singing opportunities, as has CL, who's probably the most famous member of 21 right now. And then Sandara Park, they finally, in 2015, finally allowed her to start doing her acting again. And what has Bohm done? Or, not Bohm. And what has Minzy done? Minzy has opened up a dance studio.
What doesn't make sense to me looking at this logically is why can't Minzy do some solo activities without leaving the group? And that is something that we don't have an answer to because there's so many factors that go on behind the scenes that we're not allowed to know. And Minzy must have been upset for some time now if she did in fact take 21 off her social media and then put it back on after she was coerced to put it back on because she's under contract and not because she gets to make her own decisions or she gets to talk with the group and the group can make a decision together. I mean, that's not the way this works. There's more than 4 people involved in every single K-pop group. Well, I mean, depending on the size of the K-pop group, but it isn't just ever the K-pop group that makes its own decision. There's a whole bunch of other people that are also influencing and probably sometimes in a very negative and forceful way what groups should do. Like, for instance, we were backstage with Kara and BTS. BTS looked great. I didn't see any issues with BTS. Those guys are really still very young and just happy to be up there. Kara, on the other hand, isn't even a group anymore. And you could see when they were entering, we were backstage, when they were entering the facility and then going over to their makeup room or wherever to just prepare to do the show. They looked like they were in a hurry. They looked very rushed. They looked like they didn't want to be there. None of the scenario that I actually remember or that we remember looked pleasing, even though they were the stars.
With the exception of Youngji, who had just gotten into Kara, and she was really excited to be there, but the rest of them were kind of like not happy to be there. But then again, it was a benefit concert and they may not have gotten paid for it.
Sure, but I'm just saying, if they're in charge of their own thing, maybe they don't go to that concert and maybe they keep their sanity and maybe they would still be together.
True.
I mean, take a scenario, for instance, what if BTS or EXO were to permanently break up? I'm not saying they're going to break up, and probably they will not, but EXO's already had a tumultuous time in 2014 as well. BTS is probably not going to break up because they are the staple for Big Hit Entertainment. It is Big Hit Entertainment that they're signed under, correct?
I think so.
Well, Big Hit Entertainment has a cash cow with BTS, and they're never going to try to allow that to happen. So probably BTS is safe. And I don't even know who the singers are in BTS, but what if the main dude decides he wants to go off on a solo career and does not want to be a part of BTS anymore? I mean, you can't even imagine that, but that's a very possible scenario because of the way that K-pop groups are manufactured.
And Minzy wasn't even the soloist. I mean, she was a dancer and a backup singer, so I know that 21's going to be okay without her. I know some people are going to be upset that I said that, but 21 is going to be okay without Minzy. But I wonder, maybe that's why Minzy hadn't done anything solo-ish before, and maybe that's why she's leaving, is because she can't break out of this 21 shell where she's the younger sister who doesn't do anything. What are your thoughts on Minzy leaving 21? Are you upset about this? Are you a faithful Blackjack who was like, Blackjacks will never be the same? Are you angry at YG? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section below.
Also, please click the like button while you're down there, and thank you so much for supporting us here at HallyuBack. And don't forget to subscribe for more HallyuBack news. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego.
Bye!